Welcome to season 3 of On the Spot.
As Sierra Leone community continues to grow, more Sierra Leoneans get involved in diverse trade and professions here in the UAE. Last week, I had an established logistics and supply chain expert who runs his own business here in Dubai. This week, a teacher joins me on the show to share his experience of what it really takes to hold down a job in Dubai, how he got here, what are the standards like here compared to Sierra Leone, and what are a few lessons that Sierra Leone can learn to improve its educational system and standards. My guest, Mahmoud Gbla, is a mathematics teacher and school governor at the International School of Creative Science. He is a member of the Eurasia Researchers, and trust me when I say he has quite a story to tell on his journey to making it here in the UAE. This is a two-part interview which you do not want to miss. He joins me right here on the show. Welcome. Welcome to the show, Mahmoud. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
You do have quite an interesting and intriguing story, and I don't even know where we're going to start. So probably we're going to start from the top. How you got to Dubai, and that story didn't even start from Sierra Leone. It's a story that led you from Sierra Leone to Gambia to Dubai. Let's just go through quickly on that, how you journeyed into Dubai or UAE.
Yeah, as you know, I'm very proud Sierra Leonean, and so, but right from childhood, even my family members might tell you that I've been very ambitious. I was born with a polygamous father. Well, we are from a Timini family, and you know how it is with Muslims, from Matutuka.
Oh, wow.
Matutuka is the headquarters town of Tani Chiefdom. I'm sure Sierra Leoneans know that. And in my primary school, I'm well known for having reputable results. I got the best result in my school, and I think no one has even broke my record from the Tonkolele district during my time in 2003 for NPNC, and then move on to Muslim Congress, and then Albert Academy. In all the schools, I'm sure most of my schoolmates will be here watching me, know that I've always been outstanding, leading, being prefect. So after secondary school, I lost my parent. I lost my mom, who was the backbone behind most of the success that I've had in early childhood. I was living with a sister, and things didn't work out well. So I knew that because of the name that I've made for myself through secondary school, through primary school, my colleagues who are born with silver spoon in their mouth and making it to universities, and they're having degrees, quality degrees being sponsored. I don't have anyone to help me at the time. I have nobody to speak to. I started hiding for a while because most of my colleagues started off university and I'm still stuck. So I need to do something. So I had to push hard. So that's how it all started. I see myself through my first undergraduate diploma in mathematics. I also see myself through my first degree in education, again with a first-class degree in mathematics.
And this was in Sierra Leone?
No, not in Sierra Leone. And then I start moving on to Gambia as well to look for a job. And when I get to Gambia, I started off first as a normal teacher. I was brought there by someone. And again, it was a hot struggle. You know how it is, especially when you're in a country. And then in Gambia, I was working and studying at the same time. And it was really tough because you know how it is with the remuneration in Africa and having to pay international fees.
Yes.
So it was really tough. But alhamdulillah, all goes well for some years. And then in Gambia, I got my first child. And then while in Gambia, I was into business. I was selling gold, coming to Sierra Leone quietly to buy gold and selling in Gambia, and it was quite successful.
And this was along with your teaching
Along
work?
with my teaching and studying at the same time, because back then I only had my undergraduate diploma in mathematics, which is more like a HTC.
And this was gotten from where?
This particular one was got in Gambia.
In Gambia,
Yes. And then later on, I tried to blend in business as well as my studying, and then so I got my certificate from Cambridge University as well, which qualified me to be a primary school teacher at the time. And then I decided to keep fighting, going into
improving
business and
yourself.
I started moving. And then I got this affiliation with Singapore, where I was traveling mostly for Eurasia researchers. I had actually presented and also attended several educational conferences.
Okay. So quickly, for viewers who are trying to figure out what this Eurasia researcher is all about, what is it?
Well, it's actually a platform or an organization that bringing together educators around the world.
Okay.
They will come up with educational topics or pedagogies or a particular scenario where they will invite educationalists around the world to come up with presentation to discuss about this trend in education and look for solutions. I've been to Singapore in the process. I've been to Malaysia, and this is how I start getting gold to these countries to sell.
Right.
And while in Gambia, I got a friend who was more into social lifestyle, but with my line of business, I needed someone who
was social.
Who is social enough to go into this tour, because Gambia is more like a tourist country.
Yeah.
So I started getting him into the business to buy and sell gold for me, and I trusted him. I provided him with much more salary than what he was earning. So we did this for a year, and it was quite successful. I was doing quite well. So he got some partners. I don't know how. By then, I wasn't aware of what the name Al-Bab even means. So he told me he got an Al-Bab here in the UAE who wants gold at a very large quantity. For those Sierra Leoneans know that where I come from, Tanit Chiefdom is mostly known for gold mining within the Pampana River and stuff. So I have a lot of my childhood friends who are still mining. So it was easy for me to get quality gold at the time.
Right.
But at a very small scale. But it was quite successful. So I had to go into large-scale investment. So I had to go into some few loans.
Wow.
And sell off properties that I actually had to be able to acquire the amount I really need to invest into this business. Because the Al-Bab, according to this Nigerian guy, said he needed gold at a very large quantity. So I got this gold. I used a lot of means to get the money, but I was able to get it. And then we traveled to Singapore together. And then at Singapore, we actually met Al-Bab, but I had an educational conference at the time. So I had to stay back while the transaction was done, because he is the forefront into the business. He's the one known. I was just more like a sideline person, but monitoring my investment. So the Al-Bab actually said we should come over to UAE because he can't pay such a huge amount of money there in Singapore. So we had to. So he arranged for us to get visas, or tourist visas at the time. And also we were able to get ticket, but I wasn't able to travel because I had an educational conference a day or two later, which I had to present. So I asked him to come over, and then I'll come back and join them maybe in a day or two. So they were here, and because he is actually the person who brought in the investor, he was actually doing almost everything. But the good thing is the account where this money was to be paid was my account, and that was the account in Gambia. By then. That was the agreed, that was what we agreed as a memorandum when we discussed the business. But 2 days after on, I didn't hear from him again. I tried calling him, I can't get him. The day I was supposed to travel, I only received an email from him saying that a lot of things didn't go as planned. But when I get to the UAE, he can explain better.
And that's this Nigerian friend of yours?
Yes.
Right.
That was on the 18th of May, 2019. I got that message. And then he said someone will pick me up at the airport to my hotel. So I said, fine. So when I came in, the first day in the UAE, I was at the airport, officially dressed with just $50 in my wallet and just my handbag, because I actually was not coming here to stay.
You came here for business.
And then to travel back to Gambia.
With just $50 to your name.
Yes.
And a bag. I'm going to hold you there. This is on the spot. You really do not want to miss this conversation. We'll be right back.
Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, is the leading institution in Sierra Leone's effort to combat and control corruption. Our dedicated team is committed to preventing corruption through public education, rigorous investigation, and prosecution, which has seen Sierra Leone make remarkable progress in the anti-corruption ranking. We climbed 22 places in the Transparency International ranking and scored over 70% for 6 consecutive years in the Millennium Challenge Corporation Scorecard. ACC operates toll-free hotlines for reporting corruption and ensures protection for informers and witnesses. We also establish solid whistleblower protection and reward scheme to recover ill-gotten gains. Together, let's fight corruption and uphold integrity for a better future.
Okay, welcome back. For those of you just tuning in, I have my guest with me, Mahmoud, and you don't want to miss this conversation. So Mahmoud, you came to the UAE with just $50 to your name, a little bag, not for visit, not for holiday, not as a tourist, but on business.
Yes.
But it did not turn out as you planned.
Yes.
Take us through on that.
Yeah, so at the airport, I decided to have a coffee, and I was at coffee shop when I got a message on my WhatsApp from a stranger, and the person said, "I am Ibrahim, I'm here to pick you up. Where are you?" So I said, "Okay, I'm actually sitting at a coffee shop, so I'll send you the location, and then you can pick me up." So I sent the location because it's just monthly at the reception. So he came out, and he was standing with another guy, but they were all not formally dressed. So I was expecting somebody more formal to come pick me up, especially with the nature of the business that I came in to do. So I was surprised, and then I saw someone looking around, trying to call, but I wasn't paying much attention because I thought maybe they were just looking for someone else. Yeah. So he called me for the second time, and then I lifted my hands up, and then he came up to me and said, "Are you Mahmoud?" I said, "Yes, I'm Mahmoud." He said, but he looked surprised. He looked puzzled because I was actually formally dressed, just like my bow tie, and I was formally dressed. So he wasn't expecting to pick someone dressed up like I was. Yeah. Because later on, when I learned from the story, he was told that he's coming to pick someone from Nigeria who is here to look for a security job. I looked quite huge at the time because, I have some few pictures from Singapore. I look quite huge. So seeing me dressed formally, he was also confused, but he didn't know what to say. Okay. So I also was able to read because I've been a teacher for so many years. So I can read. Education psychology is part of my study. So I look at him and I knew something is wrong. So I didn't want to get things worse. I just keep my cool. And then I asked, "Where is the car?" He said, "Which car?" I said, "The car to pick me up to the hotel." He said, "Hotel." And they start laughing, actually. They were giggling within themselves. Wow. And then I realized something is wrong. So I said, "How are we going to travel?" I just changed the question. That, "Where are we going to travel?" He said, "We have to use the train. First, I need to get a card." I never knew how to use that. Yeah. Because, yes, he got me one. And then in the train, I was so confused. My brain is working so hard to figure out what exactly is happening, that I also left that $50 and my bag, including some other document there. So they took me to a villa in Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, and there was a room with more than 15 to 16 young men sweating, some with computers, I'm sure they're scammers, and others, there are no AC, you know how it is in the UAE, especially in May, very hot. And my bed was a bunk bed, 3 rows up. So I had to climb to get there. Puzzled, just to make it short, I was there and I realized that because I do call the guy outside and ask what really happened, who got me here. And then he explained that his friend, a Nigerian friend, actually told him that he has a brother who is desperate to get a job in the UAE. Wow. And he's traveling today. So he is not going to be around, but he wants to pay for 3 months rent. Let
me understand. So this Nigerian friend of yours,
knew that I'm coming.
Never got to see him ever
till date. But I learned lately that he's in Canada. Yeah, I'll come to that.
So what is the volume or the value of this business?
If I put it in dollars, it was around $45,000.
Wow. Okay.
It has to do with others' investment into this business too. And the profit was almost half of that.
Wow. So you lost all that and you lost your $50.
Everything.
And you had nowhere to stay other than this bed space.
Everything. So
how did you jump back on your feet?
This is what happened. When I was in that room, I spoke to the guy. He said, somebody asked him, that the fellow who I had a business with, his name is Emmanuel anyway. I just keep calling him fellow. His name is Emmanuel something Okuchuku. I don't know the surname. Yeah. But so he paid this fellow for 3 months rent, which is, of course, the bunk bed is about $200 a month. So he paid about 3 months and also paid the agent fee to look for a security job for me.
Wow.
Because he knew what is going to happen. Like he get it all planned up. So later
He
on.
scammed you basically.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
So when I get to hear the story from him, I knew that one, I can't get back there. I have a lot of debts to pay.
Oh my.
Because I went into loans to get that business through.
Oh my.
And secondly, even my certificates were not with me. I don't even know where to. I don't know this country. This is my first time this part of the world, probably in Malaysia or Singapore. Maybe I have friends or affiliation, but here, no. And I didn't even have a return ticket because I knew I'm coming here to leave.
Pick your money
that is it. So I didn't get a return ticket. So I had to find a way. So the guy told me that before I actually travel, he has already arranged for a car wash job for a start. So if I can take it, I said, no problem, because I needed to step out. And it was Ramadan, actually. I was fasting. So I took the job. I realized that when they travel to, because I get to see this investor again after some time. He is working in Asta. He's a doctor, the same hospital where I was taken to wash car.
Wow.
Later on, I get to know. But so when I spoke to him, he said, what happened is when they travel here on the very day that they get to the UAE, they actually were in a hotel and the business went completely fine because the gold was pure. And then they wanted gold at a very large scale in Africa, mostly in Morocco, Rwanda, and Sierra Leone, and any other sub-region. So they wanted trustees. They want someone who knows the business, who probably after this one business, they can invest huge. But this time, we're going to have what we call a merchandise license in the UAE. Because with the merchandise license, we are able to actually transport gold here. Yeah. And at the same time, we can receive huge amounts of money in our account with no problem.
Okay.
So they wanted this business to go through so they can get us this license and we get our UE ID cards.
Oh, wow.
So we can start doing this. So it was really a fine proposal. But because he knew he wanted this money all by himself, he threatened that if even this is going to happen, he wants the initial business to be completed first. Let them pay the money. He doesn't trust the process. He wants the money to be paid. So the man said, look, I can't pay you with your foreign account. You need to have a UAE account. So he provided one, not knowing he has already arranged this with someone in the UAE.
So the money was paid?
The money was paid in full. The guy showed me his bank statement rather, and I saw it. It was paid. And the very day the money was paid into the account, they got the money off straight away. And then according to whatever happened, the money was off completely. And actually the regulations in the UAE, because the money was paid in a business account, and the business was more like a barbing shop and merchandise business for Nigerian. So this money was removed in the name of business, and that account shut down completely. That business don't even exist again here.
My day. So this was well thought out.
It was all planned before I'm even here.
Wow.
So I was zero completely. So I started off at car wash, like I already told you initially. I started washing cars. You know, this is why when sometimes our brothers speak to us and they think out here is that easy, especially to Sierra Leoneans listening to me, oh, I'm going to travel. It's good to travel. Trust me, I encourage people to travel. But before you leave or before you plan traveling out of your country, the first thing that you need to get in mind is that it's not going to be easy out there. Yeah. But the gold, what actually you're coming out for, is it bigger than the struggle? Then you can make it. If you know that, okay, like at that time I knew I can't go back. I had to make it happen. Yeah. So because I was really persevere, I don't care what happened. I had to start $45,000 rich to a car wash, surviving with only about 1,000 leones in Sierra Leone money.
Wow.
I had to eat once a day. And sleeping in a very hostile condition. But after 10 days, like I told you, I met someone from a prayer place, like I also explained to you earlier on, who offered to help me. You know, I showed copies of my certificates and he said, look, go out there and look for a job. I will pay your house rent. I'll provide you with, and this happened why? Let's look at the lesson here. If I had gone into smoking or drinking or going to drugs, because the room where I was, there were scammers, people who are into scamming. They were not even they don't have the knowledge of computer as I have. You get the point? There are few things they're using. I can actually teach them how to do it. So if I wanted to learn scamming, I can do it perfectly because I have the skills already. I only needed few details. But that's not my life.
And God sent someone. Yes. And that person was really the stepping stone for you.
Yes. And that's how it started. I went to school. I got interviews. I started teaching. And today, I'm not only here as a teacher, like you've seen, I'm also pursuing double qualifications on scholarship.
Yeah.
The first one was my master's in education, leadership and management. And then the second was a postgraduate diploma in education again.
Wow.
So again, I'm probably looking forward to getting my qualified teacher status as well from the UK. All this in line because I persevered, I had a dream, and I was very focused on what I really wanted. I put all the sad stories behind me, and then it happened.
Wow. Okay. We're going to take a break. Now, you really honestly do not want to miss this conversation. Like I said, it's a 2-part interview. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. Mahmoud is still here with me, and we have still a lot more to cover on this episode of On the Spot with me here, Stella Bangura. We'll be right back.
Who knows what might happen tomorrow, next week, or even next year? But we do know that with Staco Insurance, whatever the future brings, we'll be there when you need us most, with outstanding customer service and prompt payment of your claim. Fire, motor, general accident, marine, life and medical. For now and for tomorrow. Staco Insurance, a passion for high standards.
Okay, welcome back. I did promise you that it was going to be, or it is going to be, an interesting conversation. So my guest is still here with me. So Mahmoud, whoa, you hold an undergraduate degree in education with honors in mathematics, a higher teacher's diploma in mathematics, a diploma in teaching skills for educators, a Cambridge secondary certificate for teachers. And you're also close to completing your master's degree in education, leadership and management, and a postgraduate diploma in education. I am quite curious to know, is this like the standard here in UAE? Because if you are in Sierra Leone, you're pretty much overqualified, you know, to be a teacher. You know, if we look at what's happening home in Sierra Leone, most times a lot of teachers just stop at maybe the teaching certificate they have, and in some cases just maybe a high school certificate. So is this like the standard here?
Well, it's very nice that you asked this question. We have a lot to talk about it later on, but I will just give you the basics. You see, in Sierra Leone, when you say you want to go into teaching, even your family are not proud of you.
Yeah.
They thought it's the most underpaid job. Yeah. But when you step out of Africa in general, education is one of the most noble profession. Yeah. And in the UAE, in one of their most look forward goals is to be able to be among the best education system in the world. Yeah. So they are investing a lot in the education system. So the standards here, the benchmark for teaching is you need to have a degree in the subject you teach. Okay. It doesn't matter where you get it from. And your GPA score should be at least 3.0 and above. Wow. That's the criteria, that's the standards, and you have to meet it. Yeah. Now, let's say in Africa or in Sierra Leone, you have a higher teacher certificate. You'll be teaching for years. And another thing, in fact, in all the interviews that I'll be talking about, especially to teachers in Sierra Leone, is the professional development.
Absolutely.
You see, many teachers, I went through my secondary school in Sierra Leone, I know what I'm talking about. Many teachers only have a subject qualification. Yeah. I'm a master's in mathematics, or I have a degree in mathematics or HSC mathematics, and they keep teaching. They lack the pedagogy. And here, it's not just about subject knowledge. Your pedagogy is very, very important. Yeah. So this is where the CPDs and all these other qualifications come in. Now, you will need to have a teaching degree. And the teaching degree starts from a postgraduate diploma in education.
Wow.
Or a master's in education, which is very preferable. So if you want to be very marketable, you want to be a compete, especially when you're an African, you already have somehow a hurdle.
Yeah.
Because
being
most
black
times,
already.
being black alone, when you are interviewed and you're a black man in education, come on. You got breaches and American qualified teachers in this country looking for jobs. Yeah. So if you want to stand out, you need to have something extra. Yeah. And this is why I have not limited myself. I keep pushing, like I told, because I am not from this country, I need a degree from this country. Yeah. And unfortunately, through hard work, which we'll be talking about in the next interview, I got a scholarship from the government itself with 50% partial scholarship, and my school offered to pay 25% to do the postgraduate diploma. Yeah. And then from Africa, UNICAF University offered a lot of opportunities for online qualification, which are accredited. So if you have what it takes to submit your papers, you go through the screening process and you get the scholarship, I recommend you to try it. Even if you got your degree, you can actually go a master's in different field and it's accredited. So you can have your master's in different fields, especially in education, which is very particular if you want to go into education field. In this country, you need to have at least a degree in education. And it's not about your subject degree. It's called postgraduate diploma in education. It's been done in many universities in this country and outside as well.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, this is on the spot. I'm still stunned how you badged in to the interview and demanded to be interviewed. And that really paved the way for you getting a job and just literally turning around a really nasty situation all around. This is on the spot. Like I mentioned, it's a 2-part interview. You do not want to miss it. So better tune in next week. We will be back. Mahmoud is definitely still going to be here. And we're going to talk a lot about that experience. And as well, for people who want to come, not just only to the UAE, but anywhere, what are the expectations and what should they be doing, or what should they, or how should they conduct themselves? Those are the conversations we're going to be having next week. Do not forget to tune in. We'll be back next week. This is On the Spot. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back. So till then, continue to stay fabulous.